Once again, today we faced adversity. And I'm not going to say that we necessarily conquered it, but I think we can call it a draw.
Let's recap.
So we went out sailing. The morning was fantastic. We had 15 knots of wind, and we were just cruising on up. And then it steadily started increasing, and then suddenly we were in 30 knots of wind, which was not predicted at all. And so we were like, "Listen, we're not comfortable enough with this boat to pull in the reefs and do all the stuff and like really make this safe."
We did pull in reefs though. We pulled in like one reef, two reefs, and it just kept getting stronger and stronger. And so we
decided just to drop sails and head into the ICW. And so we're heading into the ICW. Erica's piloting
into a 25 knot
sustained 25
gusts
above 30.
Yeah, headwind, and bashing waves, and yay, our engine cuts out.
Beating into this 25 to 30 knots of headwind.
Trying to take the sails down so that it doesn't buffet us around. He's out there struggling with the sails while I was trying to keep it pointed into the wind, but with no forward speed, it was really hard to control. Once he got the sails down, we spent the next...
Like 2.5 hours?
I was going to say like 17 million hours.
I think it was somewhere between 2.5 and 17 million hours.
Yeah, probably closer to mine though.
Probably.
Just going at 0.8 to maybe like... If we got
0
over
to
1,
0.8 knots.
Yeah, if we got over 1 knot, we were having a good time of it.
Yeah. All right, so I've got the boat pointed straight this way, but where we need to go is that way. But with both engines at like 2,500 RPMs, we're doing 1.5 to 2 knots. Meanwhile, the current and the wind are pushing us that way at about a knot and a half. So it averages out to put us basically where we need to go, but I'm pointed nowhere near where we need to go. Ridiculous. The Weather Channel says it's a little gusty today.
And we did that just for the rest of the entire day, limping on one engine through this god-awful wind. The wind prediction services that, we check several of them, and all of them have been consistently underestimating the amount of wind that we're getting. Even tucked in the ICW, they'd be saying that we should be getting like 15, and we're looking at 25, even like kind of sheltered. And so...
And the directions...
Yeah, the directions...
The wind angle has been completely off. So we'll go, set a plan for the next day saying, we know we've got wind at 140 degrees. That'll be awesome. And we wake up and the wind is at 2 degrees. Can't really sail north in that.
Yeah.
And still, like, we'll be sitting in 30 knots of wind, and it's telling us that we're supposed to be sitting in 15, and that all of the little, real-time observations are like 9 knots. I'm like, I'm sitting in 30 knots of wind.
But I don't know if it's because we've got all of these storms that are passing over, and it's just like swinging it around and making it really difficult to predict. But
yeah, nobody's getting it right. Yeah, so we came in on the kind of the south end of this little inlet, and that let us turn north once we hit the inlet and put out, I think about 5 feet of head sail. And with 5 feet of head sail out, we were up to 6 knots.
Yeah.
And it's still just taking a beating. And so we're headed to the ICW full stop. And we needed to get that engine worked on, so that was going to have to happen in the ICW anyway.
So we radioed a marina and we just pleaded with them to see if we could get a slip to have somebody come and check our engine. And we went under our first bridge, which was like the icing on the cake, because if you've got a 60-foot mast and you go under your first bridge, you know how heart attack inducing it is, because you're 1,000% convinced that it's going to hit.
Oh my God, that's so close. That will give you a goddamn heart attack.
When we got to the marina, there were some guys at the dock, and they were just like, did you just sail under that bridge? And they were like looking all incredulous, and that didn't make us feel any better about it.
But the marina,
So good.
Hilton Head Marina and RV Park, outstanding. So nice.
And they had a
nice
mechanic that lives there, a diesel mechanic that lives there.
So we pulled into the
fixing it.
marina at like 6-ish that night, 5-ish or 6-ish that night, and then docked. And then he was out by 9 o'clock the next morning. Because I called him at like 8:30, and he was like, "Yeah, give me about 20 minutes, I'll be there." I'm like, "Okay, great." So he came over, checked it out, told us that the alternator wasn't actually connected to the battery, and then went and got the parts while he was doing other stuff. Came back, fixed it up for a completely reasonable price, like outstanding. And the marina, when again, wish we could have seen it when it wasn't COVID. Had like a pool and laundry. Laundry took the credit cards, which was super nice.
Courtesy car?
Courtesy car.
Yeah.
Wish we'd have known about that the night before when I bicycled a battery into town. But that's fine. We got to do some laundry, which was great because we were running a bit low on clean clothes at this point. And I spent quite a lot of time on the phone with the owner of the company who makes the water maker, trying to figure out how to get that working. Finally got that working. Outstanding. And I made a new friend.
Oh my god. You're the best. Success number 2.
Captain's Vlog, sea date April 22nd, 2020. It's been an interesting few days.
We are losing yet another day in port. We're on the ICW, so it's all aboard, I guess. But at a marina, losing another day to this engine. Yeah, so we set sail yesterday, just with not a care in the world because our engine was fixed. And we had a plan.
We were staying in the ICW, so we were just like motoring up the whole day, which we found out why they call it the ditch. It's very narrow at some points. There's a lot of good wildlife. There's birds and swamps and marsh and all this kind of stuff. Lots of dolphins, but it's not sailing. It's just motoring. So we started having like intermittent trouble with the engine again. It would just kind of power down and power back up.
5 seconds off the dock.
It just kept getting worse, so now that's what landed us back here. But we did find a really sweet anchorage just south of here.
North of Edisto Island.
Yeah, north of Edisto. So we put into around 14 feet of water or something like that. Anchor held. We were in exactly the same place the next day, and anchor came up easy, and so at least there was that. And then so we started up the ICW today, and the engine thing was just worse.
It just started dying.
Yeah.
It didn't just power down and then power back up again. It was just like...
Yeah, that brought us to this place, David's Marine, I don't know, something. So we will hopefully get the engine fixed tomorrow morning and then do a couple of overnights to get up to Wilmington.
Yeah, there's another set of storms coming through in just a few hours that are probably going to rock it pretty good. So if we're going to lose a day, this is probably the better day to do it, but it's still frustrating.
Really frustrating.
Yeah. if we seem less than enthusiastic about things now, it's not that we aren't still loving the boat life. It's just that we've been beaten down a little bit by all of these engine troubles and days of motoring and constant storms coming through. And it's
the reality of boat life is, you know, a little less glamorous than the dream of boat life, but we're still gung-ho for it.
Yeah, it's not that it's less glamorous. It's just, I don't know. I still feel glamorous.
We do get a lot of very good looks.
Even though I haven't had a shower in a week, super glamorous.
So glam. Ultra glam. I think I'm going to go turn on the water heater.
Good call.
All right, little buddy.
I like his little spots.
Let's get you somewhere better. You gotta be a little less camouflaged. Go on. Yay, you're in a whole new state now.
Good job, buddy. Made it.
Good job. Whoa! Did you see that?
Oh my gosh!